The glacier, which could lead to a significant rise in sea levels if it breaks off or melts.
As it spends time at the surface, that's when it becomes oxidized and leaves this beautiful red color around.
Antarctica's icy remoteness has long stirred fascination about what secrets may lie hidden beneath its frozen surface. Though it may appear a barren wasteland, this mysterious continent is filled with discoveries waiting to rewrite history. From prehistoric rainforests to extraterrestrial rocks, Antarctica offers intriguing glimpses into our planet's past. Join us as we explore 20 of the most fascinating discoveries in Antarctica that could change history. Number 20. Pyramid Mountain. Looming out of the snowy horizons of Antarctica is the mystifying Pyramid Mountain, which has attracted theories ranging from the scientific to the downright sci-fi. The eye-catching pyramidal shape of this mountain has fueled speculation by theorists for decades. Some conjecture they are man-made monuments crafted by ancient civilizations, akin to the pyramids of Egypt. Others believe that angular landforms could be evidence of aliens or advanced technologies. Of course, mainstream geologists have a more grounded take on the Pyramid Mountain's distinct shape. According to experts, this precipitous peak most likely acquired its shape through a natural phenomenon called freeze-thaw erosion. Over countless millennia, water and snowmelt seeped into cracks in the mountains. When temperatures dropped at night, the water refroze and expanded, forcing the cracks to widen. This cycle repeated endlessly, gradually breaking off entire sections of rock to form the jagged pyramidal appearance. Similar erosive processes have sculpted other renowned mountains worldwide, like the iconic Matterhorn in the Alps, the dramatic granite faces of Yosemite in California, and the steep, fluted slopes of Mount Thor in Canada's Baffin Island. Geologists point to the uniform triangular facets of the three main Pyramid Mountains as evidence they eroded at equal rates, indicating the rock composition was the same across the ranges. This lends credence to the erosion hypothesis. Additionally, the location of the Sentinel Range in the Ellsworth Mountains suggests natural shaping by winds and moisture, rather than secret human engineering. Number 19. Monster Worm. In the sub-zero depths of Antarctica lies a worm straight out of a sci-fi movie. The Antarctic scale worm, known to scientists as Eulogisca gigantea. Recently discovered by researchers, this crazy-looking creature creeps along the seafloor thousands of feet beneath the ice. When you see its armor-plated golden skin and freaky tentacled mouth, you won't believe it's real. This alien worm can grow over 20 centimeters long. Its segmented body has 2 pairs of clawed limbs to grab sea creatures unlucky enough to be its next meal. But the craziest part is its head, ringed with tentacles and loaded with jaws that shoot out to snatch prey with lightning speed. Eulogisca gigantea is related to bobbit worms that burst out of ocean sediment to ambush fish. But the Antarctic version seems to have evolved its own bag of tricks for surviving the freezing depths. From its bristly glitter coat to its nasty set of chompers, this beast is ready for anything. Number 18. A 90-million-year-old rainforest. Can you imagine Antarctica as a lush rainforest, home to towering trees and exotic creatures? Hard to picture nowadays with its endless, icy deserts. But evidence reveals that over 280 million years ago, temperate forests cloaked this now frozen land. Through perseverance and ingenuity, a team of researchers extracted sediment samples from beneath the seafloor near the Pine Island and Thwaites glaciers in West Antarctica. After performing CT scans on the samples, they were amazed to find pollen, spores, and even intact plant root systems buried deep in the sediment. These tantalizing clues point to the existence of a vibrant rainforest ecosystem around 90 million years ago. At that time, Antarctica was not the barren polar desert we know today. The research provides concrete evidence that Antarctica once harbored a swampy tropical paradise alive with flora and fauna. Imagine what creatures might have roamed there when dinosaurs walked the Earth. We have proof that flowering plants, conifers, mosses, and more grew in this environment. The diversity of plant life found in the sediment is simply astounding. Each new leaf or fossilized branch adds depth to the tale of this continent's ancient, lush beginnings, lost beneath the ice for eons. Number 17. Blood Falls. Imagine stumbling upon a blood-red waterfall gushing forth from a glacier. It looks like a scene straight out of a horror movie. But the mysterious crimson cascades of blood falls have a perfectly scientific explanation. This bizarre natural wonder is located at the Taylor Glacier in Antarctica's McMurdo Dry Valleys. The 30-meters-high falls get their creepy color from an astonishing source, a subglacial lake rich in iron. This hidden lake under the Taylor Glacier is totally cut off from sunlight and oxygen. The lack of light prevents photosynthesis, meaning no algae or plant life can survive in the isolated waters. But incredibly, the lake is supersaturated with iron and salt, which lends its striking bloody hue. Here's how it works. Iron-rich water from the secluded lake pools below the glacier until it finds a fissure to trickle through. As the liquid oozes out and makes contact with air, the iron oxidizes and turns bright red. This gives the waterfall its nightmarish color, like a leaky faucet of blood. The salty, iron-rich water can't freeze solid despite Antarctica's sub-zero temperatures. And with no oxygen, microorganisms can't thrive to consume iron. These unique qualities allow the waterfall to maintain its scary shade of red as it gushes forth year after year. From above, the scene provides an arresting pop of color against the icy grays and whites of the glacial landscape. For now, Blood Falls remains remote and relatively untouched by human activity. But some researchers believe we may see more blood-colored water features appear as climate change forces the melting of Antarctica's ice sheets. Number 15. Meteorite fragments. Out in the icy wastes of Antarctica, fragments of space debris often fall from the heavens. In fact, over 45,000 meteorite specimens have been found on this frozen continent. The cold, dry conditions perfectly preserve these extraterrestrial treasures, making Antarctica the ideal place for meteorite hunters to flock. In recent expeditions, researchers have uncovered some astonishing finds. One team exploring near the Princess Elizabeth Station stumbled upon a treasure. 5 rare meteorites just sitting on the ice. Among them was a true gem, a chunky space rock weighing over 7 kilograms. Out of all the meteorites recovered from Antarctica so far, less than 100 have matched this kind of massive size. What makes this huge meteorite so valuable to science? Simply put, bigger is better when it comes to studying these enigmatic space objects. The meteorite's considerable bulk allows researchers to conduct more extensive tests to analyze its composition and origins. They can break off pieces to determine the exact chemical makeup of the original meteoroid that hurtled into our atmosphere. Learning about the diversity of elements present provides clues about what conditions were like billions of years ago when our solar system formed. In addition to its impressive weight, the meteorite's pristine preservation aids research. The more intact a meteorite, the more accurately scientists can classify it and trace it back to its parent asteroid. Some speculate this new find may have broken off from Vesta, one of the largest asteroids roaming our solar system today. Of course, no one can be certain where it originated in the deepest space. But each new Antarctic meteorite offers precious data that gets researchers a little closer to solving these cosmic puzzles. What other secrets might these interstellar travelers disclose if we just take the time to listen? Number 14. A perfect rectangular iceberg. Along Antarctica's coast, the frigid waters churn out some fascinating ice formations. But few are as amazing as the picture-perfect rectangular iceberg spotted from above in 2018 by NASA's Operation ICEBERG flight. This sheer-sided frozen structure has enthralled scientists and online spectators alike with its uncanny right-angled geometry. As sometimes icebergs with relatively straight edges are formed, but no one had really seen one before with 2 corners at such perfect right angles like this one had. What could have possibly formed such an enormous and eerily symmetric shape rising from the sea? The answer has to do with how ice shelves calve. As ice flows outward from land, immense cracks called rifts form. When a large chunk breaks free, the angular edges reveal the natural fracture lines in the ice plane's structure. In this case, the straight-edged berth of the iceberg also required some very flat topography underwater. Moreover, winds and currents likely nudged the floating block into its sharp-cornered alignment. While not unheard of, Rectangular icebergs represent only about 1% of those observed. This one's sheer size and box-like symmetry are breathtaking. Number 13. Green Antarctica. Antarctica is transforming before our eyes, and not in a good way. Vast patches of green are sprouting up along the icy continent's coasts, and scientists are concerned. This greening of Antarctica is caused by a proliferation of moss blooms spreading across warming landscapes. It may sound harmless, but this flush of green signals big changes ahead for the once pristine white continent. Antarctica is the only place in our world where the "Go Green" mantra does not work. As temperatures rise worldwide, Antarctica is no longer immune. In parts of the Antarctic Peninsula, the mercury has spiked by a shocking 5 degrees Fahrenheit per decade. That's 5 times faster than the global average. This warming is kickstarting a new era of plant colonization across the barren, icy lands. Mosses, especially, are ravenous pioneers, gorging themselves on nitrogen and carbon dioxide from penguin poop and seal remains. Their growth is further fueled by melting snow and ice, which seep into the moss beds, providing moisture. Right now, the moss explosions are largely contained to the peninsula, but researchers worry this could be Antarctica's new normal in the not-so-distant future. A green Antarctica could cause immense damage through increased surface melting and runoff. Moss also darkens snow areas, decreasing their reflectivity and causing greater heat absorption, amplifying the warming cycle. Scientists fear tipping points, where the melting reaches catastrophic levels may already be crossed in West Antarctica. For now, the march of green is slow but steady in Antarctica. Once it gains momentum, though, we might not be able to stop this plant takeover. It's a sobering thought that one day, school kids could be coloring maps with green all across Antarctica's coasts, and not just white and blue. Number 12. Gear from 1930s expedition. Imagine exploring the remote icy wastes of Antarctica and stumbling upon relics from the legendary expeditions of the early 1900s. This astonishing discovery was made in 2011 by researchers combing a rocky ridge near the Scott Glacier. Scattered across the area were items abandoned almost a century prior: camp supplies, crates, clothing, and climbing equipment belonging to Antarctic pioneer Admiral Richard E. Byrd. Admiral Byrd was an American naval officer, explorer, and aviator who led groundbreaking expeditions to Antarctica in the 1930s. His quest to be the first to fly over the South Pole, map the vast icy terrain, and survive the brutal polar climate was truly like something out of a vintage adventure comic. Among the items found were crampons and ice axe heads, still bearing the initials of expedition members like Quinn Blackburn and Richard Russell. One pair of crampons was marked with QAB, belonging to the bold geologist Blackburn, who ventured deep into Antarctica's frozen heart in 1934. Also recovered were wooden survey poles likely crafted by the voyage's skilled carpenter. These everyday items resonate with remarkable stories of perseverance and discovery in one of the world's most formidable environments. After their strenuous journeys, the items were left entombed in ice at the expedition campsite, waiting to re-emerge decades later into the modern era. Antarctica does not really give up its history easily. Number 11. Lost City of Atlantis. You might have heard of the mythical lost city of Atlantis, the legendary ancient civilization that is said to have sunk into the sea thousands of years ago. While its true location remains shrouded in mystery, some astonishing evidence suggests the ruins of Atlantis could actually lie hidden beneath Antarctica's ice. You may wonder how an ancient city could be buried under today's colossal frozen ice sheet. Well, Antarctica wasn't always a frigid wasteland. Scientists are discovering more evidence that tropical ecosystems once thrived there millions of years ago. Geological studies also reveal Antarctica was once connected to other continents like Africa and South America, before continental drift created today's geography. If Atlantis did exist on Antarctica back when it had a more hospitable climate, its remains may still be down there, buried under miles of accumulated ice and snow. Theorists claim elaborate structures and artifacts from Atlantean civilization could potentially be unearthed as the ice recedes in coming decades. Some even believe advanced Atlantean technologies could be uncovered, revolutionizing modern science. While stories of Atlantis may seem far-fetched, the notion of an ancient lost civilization beneath Antarctic ice tantalizes. The imagination. What if we could learn the secrets of one of humanity's oldest societies by excavating down through the frozen layers? Whether the fabled sunken city actually lies entombed within Antarctica or not, this harsh realm undoubtedly holds many astonishing discoveries from bygone eras still waiting to be brought to light. Atlantis or not, Antarctica's buried past beckons to be uncovered. Number 10. Singing ice. Among the frozen soundscapes of Antarctica, an eerie natural phenomenon sings its endless tune. Haunting notes reverberate across the wind-carved ice, giving rise to legends of ghostly cries emanating from the barren white wilderness. This remarkable occurrence is known as singing ice. Singing ice forms when loose snow atop ice sheets gets compressed into solid, rounded crystals. As gusts of wind sweep over the surface, these ice spheres vibrate, emitting a twinkling, chiming sound. The notes echo for great distances and can sometimes last for hours. Scientists compare it to running your finger along the rims of crystal glasses to produce a ringing tone. Researchers initially detected Antarctic singing ice through seismic sensors designed to measure glacier movements. The sensors picked up its unearthly vibrations unintentionally. Recordings revealed the ice performs an ethereal composition, its tones shifting in time with wind speed, temperature, and snow crystal metamorphosis. Some describe its melancholic melody as haunting but beautiful. For now, the Rhapsody of Singing Ice remains one of the continent's most mystifying free concerts, bewitching all who pause to hear its call across the ancient glacial plains. Number 9. Warm caves. Antarctica is a land of extremes, with temperatures that can plummet to -80 degrees Fahrenheit. But beneath the ice sheets, there's a hidden world of warmth. Scientists have discovered a network of warm caves heated by the geothermal activity of Mount Erebus, an active volcano on Ross Island. As hot steam from Erebus's subterranean magma chambers rises through the ice, it hollows out spectacular caverns, tunnels, and fissures. Researchers could hardly believe it when they first lowered cameras into the steaming caves. They revealed cathedral-like ice ceilings, sweeping frozen walls, and intricate hollows sculpted by the volcanic vapors over eons. But the most amazing quality of these caves is their cozy warmth. The steam keeps internal temperatures at a balmy 77 degrees Fahrenheit, perfect conditions for ice cave exploration without freezing your toes off. Scientists think these geothermal heated spaces could allow ice algae, mosses, and maybe even unknown species to thrive under Antarctica's surface. After all, the volcanic warmth would melt any ice that blocked sunlight from entering through the cave mouths. The thought of entire ecosystems with unique organisms lurking in Antarctica's subsurface is incredibly exciting. What kinds of exotic cave-adapted creatures do you think could have evolved in this extreme habitat? Number 8. Frozen Penguin Graveyard. On an Antarctic island, a team of researchers excavated through layers of ice to reach a portal into the past, a 5,000-years-old graveyard of frozen penguins. These specimens provide a rare glimpse into an Antarctic penguin colony that lived during the last ice age. As the researchers carefully dug into the ice, they made a series of intriguing discoveries. The state of preservation of the bodies varied, with some appearing remarkably fresh, while others were more deteriorated. The penguins gobbled up fish and krill from a nearby estuary where the food was plentiful. The team also uncovered bones and eggshells from penguin chicks, as well as excrement stains at the site. These clues indicate the area was once a thriving penguin breeding ground. Using radiocarbon dating, the researchers determined the colony inhabited the site at least 3 separate times over several thousand years. Its last breeding period was around 800 years ago, coinciding with the onset of the Little Ice Age, which may have hampered breeding. The coolest part is, the mummified penguins are from extinct species. They left behind a biological snapshot of Antarctica thousands of years ago that scientists could never get any other way. Number 7. The Forbidden Sector. On maps of Antarctica, there's an ominous blank region labeled only the Forbidden Sector. This mysterious land near the South Pole is deemed off-limits, with access only for officials. What could authorities be hiding in this secretive, restricted zone? Officials claim the area is sequestered purely for environmental protection. It allegedly hosts unique emperor penguin breeding colonies vulnerable to human interference. But not everyone buys this story. Conspiracy theorists argue a vast treasure trove of aliens, supernatural phenomena, or advanced tech hidden for centuries must lie within the Forbidden Sector's boundaries. Reports linger of a few individuals entering the zone, never to be seen again. No one knows what happens here. No one who has gone has ever come back. If you try to take a peek at the border, you are grabbed by security and taken in. Could there be any truth to such fantastic reports? We may never know. For now, the Forbidden Sector's mysteries beckon from beyond an icy veil of enigma. Whatever fantastic truths or untold histories it holds, we can only speculate. Perhaps one day its barriers will open, and its revelations will pour forth to shock the world. But until then, we must content ourselves with imagining what astonishing secrets this Antarctic no-man's land contains, hidden away from all human eyes. Number 6. Ancient maps showing Antarctica. History books tell us Antarctica wasn't discovered until 1820, but bizarrely accurate maps from centuries earlier show the icy continent in remarkable detail. These cartographic anomalies are fueling whispers of secret ancient knowledge about Antarctica's past. The Piri Reis map from 1513 and the Orontes Phineas map from 1531 both clearly depict Antarctica's coastline and mountain ranges buried under today's ice sheet. This baffled scholars when the maps were rediscovered in the 20th century. How could 16th century mapmakers chart Antarctica's topography with such precision, centuries before human eyes documented the frozen continent? Some speculate that, impossibly, ancient seafaring cultures must have mapped and explored Antarctica back when it was ice-free. There may have been a worldwide seagoing civilization thousands of years ago that surpassed today's technological capabilities. Others believe the ancient mapmakers could have somehow remotely sensed Antarctica's terrain through psychic or spiritual means. Mainstream historians argue that the early maps' accuracy is exaggerated. They propose that the continent's shape was hypothetical based on mythical Terra Australis legends. But believers counter that the level of geographic details on the maps overwhelmingly points to direct knowledge of Antarctica's natural features. How Antarctica came to be painstakingly illustrated on 500-year-old parchment remains one of cartography's most confounding riddles. Do these strange maps imply hidden history, paranormal perception, or incredible coincidence? Let us know in the comments. Now it's time for today's subscriber pick. As you have heard, Antarctica has its own mysterious Area 51. Deep beneath the icy wasteland lies a secluded no-man's land rumored to harbor secrets as strange and surreal as its Nevadan counterpart. Dismissed for years as wild speculation, astonishing evidence has now emerged. This image shows an unidentified object lying on Antarctica's frozen landscape. Its sleek and massive metallic structure, along with rovers, does look like a spaceship, surrounded by the endless white of Antarctica. What do you think of it? Is it proof of an extraterrestrial hiding place? Or could it be a concealed base harboring advanced human technology? With Antarctica largely unexplored, nearly anything seems possible. Share your thoughts and theories in the comments. Number 5. Fantastic fungus. In Antarctica's harsh climes, you'd expect living things to be few and far between. But impressively resilient fungi are not just surviving here, they're thriving. Recently, scientists made an astonishing fungus discovery that's changing how we understand life in this icy land. Around Antarctica's historic huts, researchers have identified 3 new species of ancient wood-eating fungi flourishing in freezing temperatures. These obscure organisms are feasting on the huts built by early Antarctic explorers like Shackleton and Scott over a century ago. The fungi gnaw away at the weathered wooden walls and planks, digesting the cellulose and chemicals within. But the most amazing fungus, known scientifically as Antarctomyces psychrotrophicus, possesses a unique skill. It can actually consume petroleum-based products like fuels and plastics. This is the first time scientists have discovered a fungus with this garage-gobbling talent. The Antarctic fungi genome reveals special cold weather adaptations and enzyme traits that allow it to carry out tasks no other known fungi can. Its mighty abilities could be harnessed one day to clean up environmental oil spills or digest plastic pollution. Number 4. The only crime on the South Pole. In the South Pole's frigid isolation, an Antarctic researcher met an abrupt, tragic end. Rodney Marks's mysterious demise back in 2000 marked Antarctica's first and only recorded murder. His baffling death spawned intrigue and suspicion in the normally placid polar research community. Marks, an Australian astrophysicist, had spent the winter at the Amundsen Scott South Pole Station. During the long months of endless darkness, he suddenly fell ill. His health inexplicably deteriorated until he died 12 days later from apparent methanol poisoning. But where did the lethal dose of methanol come from? The isolated base had no stocks of the toxic solvent. Doubts emerged about whether Marks could have deliberately ingested a substance not found at the facility. The strange circumstances suggested nefarious play was involved, though the evidence was scarce. Due to Antarctic treaty obligations, New Zealand authorities launched an investigation into Marks's suspicious death. However, the challenges of conducting forensic science in such a cold, remote setting stymied progress. After years without a definitive resolution, the case was reluctantly closed in 2007. The verdict cited insufficient proof of foul play. The truth behind Marks's tragic end remains shrouded in mystery. Speculation ran rampant about murder motives related to romantic affairs or professional disputes at the lonely base, but no perpetrator was ever found among the tiny pool of suspects. All we know is that one day Marks's life was abruptly cut short at the bottom of the world. Number 3. Antarctic Midge. Beneath Antarctica's icy facade skitters a tiny creature beyond extraordinary, the Antarctic midge. At just a few millimeters long, this insect has mastered survival in Earth's harshest habitat. From blizzards to endless nights, the midge withstands conditions that would destroy most life forms. These diminutive daredevils are the only fully terrestrial animals native to Antarctica. They owe their fortitude to specialized adaptations. Unlike most bugs, the flightless midge lacks wings, preventing deadly wind chill. Its compact body minimizes exposure to the elements, and its metabolism is fine-tuned to function in sub-zero climes. Even in the endless polar winter, the midge continues breeding and hunting algae as temperatures dip below -40 degrees Celsius. Its eggs even have tiny granules that prevent freezing. No one knows how the midge first came to inhabit the foreboding Antarctic ecosystem, but over millions of years these tiny critters have evolved superpowers to thrive at the bottom of the world. Number 2. Prehistoric egg. In 2011, Antarctica revealed one of its most astonishing prehistoric prizes ever. A football-sized 66-million-year-old egg. This enormous ovum belonged to an extinct giant marine reptile that once dominated the southern seas. Its discovery shook up scientists' understanding of these elusive creatures. Unearthed in sedimentary rocks, the mega egg boasts a length of over 30 centimeters. After carefully cleaning and analyzing the fossil, researchers confirmed it originally housed an embryonic mosasaur. These carnivorous aquatic beasts flourished during the Cretaceous period alongside dinosaurs. Prior to this, scientists doubted mosasaurs gave birth to live young like their modern lizard and snake cousins. The preserved egg argues otherwise. It provides the first concrete evidence that mosasaurs laid eggs, but retained them inside their bodies until ready to hatch. This reproductive strategy is called ovoviviparity. Besides settling this evolutionary debate, the Antarctic egg astonishes with its sheer size. As the largest mosasaur egg known, it demonstrates these aquatic hunters grew even more gargantuan than expected. The mothers must have been enormous to produce such huge eggs. Number 1. Gamburtsev Mountains. Most mountain ranges on our planet have ice-capped peaks, but in Antarctica, even the tallest peaks are buried under snow and ice. Beneath this icy veil sits a mysterious range with an epic tale, the Gamburtsev Mountains. Though completely concealed and yet to be photographed, recent research is starting to reveal the astonishing origin story of these subglacial giants. Hidden beneath the Gamburtsev Mountains lies a rift system where tectonic forces are slowly pulling the crust apart. Around 100 million years ago, this rifting formed a large basin that gradually filled with dense rock eroded from the surrounding mountains. Over millions of years, this infill formed a sturdy foundation. Then came the astonishing birth of the mountains 35 million years ago. Impossibly, they seemed to materialize out of nowhere, rising swiftly over just a few million years. The leading theory posits that plume activity in the mantle far below injected new magma which uplifted the rock layers. The range's shadows have fostered biodiversity, leaving a legacy that continues to reshape Antarctica. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.